Good morning, President Hakainde Hichilema and all African leaders. I want to thank President Hakainde Hichilema because I know if he meant to reject me completely, I wouldn't be there today. When God permitted the most wicked king, Manasseh, to chop Jeremiah into pieces for rebuking him for doing wrong, it was for a purpose, because Jeremiah he had done his job. For Jesus to allow Nicodemus to ask him about the promises of his coming, it was for his purpose to promise us to come and take us home, even when we are killed. I want to talk about Jesus also allowing John the Baptist to be murdered by Herod, because he considered John the Baptist to have done his job. Why is it that I'm carrying these books here? Even if I'm dead today, the volumes of this book speaks a lot about the future of Africa. If Africa thinks that I hate any president, perhaps after my death, when you read these books, you are going to understand the revelation of God's love to President Hakainde Hichilema. And not only him. When I addressed this book, it was a revelation for me to put this picture on the front page of this first volume. As handsome as he is, as knowledgeable as he is failing to fulfill the promises he made because he's under control, is under gunpoint. Those who want to reap from Africa natural resources, once a president steps in his state house, they have to threaten him, they have to tell him what to say, they have to tell him their programs. And even the removal of Pope Francis quicker from the scene, because social media also revealed to us to say the doctors told Pope Francis not to go back to the local hospital, they might kill him. Why do they need to kill the Pope? We also know John Paul II, he also suffered a gunpoint, an assassination attempt. Why are they killing them? Because they also control them to say, once they make an agreement with someone else, that agreement, for it to fail after they have entered into agreement to own our minds, then they kill that one, so that when you claim to say, no, the person you made an agreement with is no longer what? Is no longer there. So we are making things afresh. When already they have placed their leg in your country, they have controlled your country. That's when they tell you that we cannot proceed because the one who agreed with you is dead. I have a simple and clear forward question to President Donald Trump. If President Donald Trump has cut aid from Africa, which to me is a fulfillment of prophecy, but why is it he doesn't want to remove the AFRICOM and the military bases that he has planted in Africa. Why? Those military bases that are planted in Africa, Zambia, Namibia, also Lesotho is one of those that America is establishing its military base there. For what? When you are not helping Africa, when you have cut aid from Africa, why are you planting those military bases in Africa? And wherever there are military bases in Africa, there's no peace. Presidents are under hostage. Even the citizens, they have no freedom of expression. People are disappearing, dying. Because when you oppose what is proposed by a donor country, it's an insult. It is framed as an insult. I don't know how true the rumors I heard when I was reading Facebook yesterday that one youth in Zambia was arrested for posting on his Facebook to say Ichinsu, Ichinsu. I don't know how you pronounce Ichinsu, which is a Bemba word that means long hair. At Ichinsu, Uiwa Chinsu, Akayarirari. This one with long hair, when will he go? I'm still waiting for someone to send me the actual post so that I can get the actual information. But if that is what was posted, then it is unfortunately that the Zambian government is acting out of desperation, protecting who? They are arresting people under the guise of saying they are insulting. If a government is performing to the expectation of the people, the government will be respected on earth. Today, a president that died, Manawasa, before he became a president, they were saying garbage, 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 garbage. No, he was involved in an accident. His mental capacity cannot do this. But he did, tactfully, by giving a condition to the donors to say, if you want me to arrest Chiluba, can you make my economy better? They did that. And when he did that, he also was killed. Those issue of collapsing, we collapse when we have taken poison. People have been poisoned. I've gone through poison, food poisoning. So I don't want to appear as if I'm attacking anyone. I'm simply stating the truth. And the truth to everyone who has gone under free education of the colonial master that teaches us to say, anyone that says I have visions, they say he's suffering from schizophrenia. Someone told me to say, you are writing too much. One of the doctors to say, do you know that writing too much? No, not one of the doctors. One of a fake doctor, a social worker from CSVR, which is the Clinic for Trauma whatsoever, says writing too much. It shows that your mind is not stable. You have a mental illness. What? I challenge everyone that believe in colonial master's education of rejecting God, teaching people that a man evolved from a monkey, lost his tail. Thereafter, I started walking with 2 legs and being the way we are. And Africa, we are considered like animals by those who want to control our natural resources. The under 5 injections they give us in order to monitor our brain functioning, the COVID-19 vaccination, they are all things that are used against Africa. There's no COVID-19. Even on Facebook, when you talk about this, you are blocked. So I want to say the one who is going to block anything that I talk, he must face the wrath of God. This first volume, it talks about 90 days of national prayer. When it was rejected by Michael Sata, I suggested that each province, because the people in the village, they don't have access to televisions and radios and so forth. So I need to physically go from one province to another province so that I can talk the will of God to people, mouth to mouth, face to face, so that by the end of the 90 days, all 9 provinces, the people on the grassroots will be talking from their own understanding of what I said. What happened? He refused. When I stopped the first series of the 90 days at Kanyama, when I started the first 10 days in Kanyama compound, he refused. I went to State House. I talked to Amos Chanda, who was his press aide. I told him to say I've stopped. And immediately when I announced that I stopped, it only took about 3 or 4 days. It was on the 15th. On the 19th, between 19th and the 22nd, on the 19th, he actually suffered an assassination attempt. He was shot on the chest in fulfillment of the vision that I had. That vision was revealed to me in 2008, and I wrote a letter. I still have those letters with me. When a president refuses to listen to God, God follows with immediate punishment. When Pharoah was taught to leave the children of Israel, to give them freedom from slavery, he followed them. And when they were crossing Red Sea, he also thought that road which God has opened, he can also go through with his soldiers. The scripture tells us that when Pharaoh was in the midst of the open waters, a miraculous God, where witchcraft tried to imitate God's power, it will fail. Pharaoh, he looked and he saw the face of God, and the waters returned and covered him. I'm setting a trap to every leader that is fighting God's revelation to meet God in the river that is going to swallow him completely with his soldiers and all the CIA, the FIB, the OP in Zambia, whosoever who is against this ministry. I'm appealing to God to act according to his grace and power to review that what is written in these 12 volumes. Unfortunately, one of the book here, which is for Malema, the United States of Africa under Julius Malema, was bought by someone else. And I thank him for buying it, because he's getting the information right from the mouth of God. God's revelation is not meant for leaders to hate me. It's not meant for leaders to actually fight this ministry of God. Instead, they must protect the ministry of God for them to survive the assassinations. So, when I realized that Michael Sata refused, when I was in exile, I conducted the 90 days prayer meeting on Facebook, and I've written these messages in here. And I also conducted the prayers for Donald Trump when he was faced with the impeachment, because I knew that President Donald Trump was a fulfillment in this prophecy that is written in these books, the first 3 volumes. My appeal to Donald Trump is that Donald Trump must not fight Ibrahim Traore, because Ibrahim Traore is one of our examples who can stand the oppression against African countries. My appeal to Donald Trump is, let him have mercy on Africa. Let Africa gain its independence. Let Africa gain control over its resources. And my appeal to every African leader is to read these books. This 2nd volume, The Gross Negligence on Refugees that are suffering equally like myself, is on the table of President Hakainde Hichilema and Julius Malema, because I gave them for free. And the 3rd volume, which is The Hitman, is on the table of both President Hakainde Hichilema and Julius Malema, which is for free. Also the 3rd one, which is The Fixing of Economy, which I said it won't work out regardless. Even if we give HH the 2nd term, he won't do it. Even if we give him the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, as long as the mines are not under the government, this is very loud, it won't happen. You will never fix the economy. The Patriotic Front, the restoration of the Patriotic Front, is what is described by Ibrahim Traore. Any leader in Zambia that will understand what SATA stood for is the one that should restore the mines back to the government's hand. This one, it talks about the true weekly cycle, which is determined by the moon, not Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is fake. Read this book and it will help you to understand the creation of God, which is determined naturally. Women, they don't count their monthly cycle 30 days or 31. It's 28 days according to the moonlight, which determines the 4 weeks of the month. May God lead you to understand this. I've also written about the misrepresentation, the contradictions of Ellen White, the founder of the SDA Church, in this book. Not to fight with the 7th day, but to review what God revealed to me in visions and visions. It's you to test the truth which is written here. I've also said in this volume 8, exposing false worship, false doctrine. It's not a fight. It's love from God. Because God reviews falsehood that has come as church but doing business. So churches must brand themselves to have a positive criticism, not to kill one another in order to defend religion. Life and death is every African president must choose death in order to protect his country, in order to retain the natural resources, and choose life in Jesus Christ, because he's the one who's going to protect you, who is called Yeshua in Hebrew, and the Messiah. I also appeal my final volume, volume 12. I'm talking about marriage based on a woman and a man, not man to man, not woman to woman, not any other means of marriage. And I want to applaud, to actually praise Donald Trump for actually emphasizing on this point. No one was born again. Let's unite Africa and make one parliament, and you make one currency, and you own our natural resources, and you sell to whosoever who want those natural resources to meet the daily needs of our citizens. As president, I thank God for you who has heard. I'm not fighting anyone. I'm actually stating it the way it comes from the mouth of God, because my God is not happy with what is happening against Africa by those called donor countries. May God bless you. Amen.